Everybody, it is EDT 501. Welcome. My name is Bill Selleck. I'll be your instructor for the next 8 weeks. Let me tell you a little bit about myself, then a little bit about this course, and then you're going to hop over to week 1, watch the video where I dig into that a little bit, and get started. So the idea of this course, very simply, is looking at specific pedagogical tools, workflows, mindsets, and looking at Google tools. So you want to start with the start here. So if you're not on the start here, well, I don't know how you're watching this if you're not on start here, because that's where this video is. It welcomes you to Essentials and Technology Integration with Google, ! Make sure you're looking at the syllabus, looking at the academic honesty policy, the late policy, the School of Ed policies, all this stuff. Please make sure to look at that. I'm going to just remind you right now, and talk about it many other times. In week 8, the final thing you're going to be doing in this course is taking the Google Certified Educator Level 1 exam. And so in week 7, you're going to be actually registering for it. It takes more than an hour to register. So one time I made the mistake of renewing my Google Certified Educator Level 2, blocked off an afternoon at work, signed up for it, and I was like, we will email you within a week. I was just like, no, I wanted to do it now. So you're not going to do it now. Sometimes it's within an hour, you'll get that link, and then you'll do that actually like through Google's system. If you pass that, you're a Google Certified Educator, Level 1. Yay! That's ultimately where we're going. And so we'll kind of backwards map what different units the Google Education team has put together, what those kind of different themes are, and instead of just kind of cramming for it in week 8, they're baked into each week as you go along. And in just a moment, I'll give you kind of an overview of what that looks like. Also on the welcome page, you have Tanya and Holly's book, The Google Infused Classroom. They are both good friends, amazing educators. And I was going to say, no, Tanya's actually with Adobe Education right now, but has been using Google tools forever. Anyway, you can Google the people later. Reach out on the Twitters, as my mom calls it still. Say hello to them. Hey, we're using your book for our class. And they'll be like, great, let me know if you have any questions. Great book, super useful, immediately applicable. And then we also have the 7th edition of the APA manual, which is less inspiring, but also important for the course. So once you've done that start here part, also right below the start here, you have the student support services. So I know you're able to read and click on your own, but make sure you're looking at different resources from like the library, technology services, the wellness center. The writing studio is a great resource. It takes a while for the turnaround for them, but the writing studio is good stuff. So make sure you're clicking through all of that. So me, who am I? So this is, how long have I been here? Is this maybe my 10th year at Concordia University, Irvine? My 10th year as adjunct faculty. My day job is tech director at Hillbrook School. I'm wearing that shirt. Hillbrook School is an independent K-12 school in the Bay Area. So we used to be, for the first 88 years, we were in Los Gatos, kind of on the way to Santa Cruz. And we have a high school campus that is technically 5 days old in downtown San Jose, like minutes from the San Jose airport, near where all the good food is. It's great. So we're going to have 9th and 10th graders next year. We've had the keys for 5 days. We've been working on it for a couple years, and like just got all the permitting and everything signed off on. And so now, like this morning, I drove to downtown San Jose and plugged in the phones, and it worked. Like I had the phones. That's what these random boxes are behind me. Welcome to like life of a tech director. Whatever you see behind me is what I have to do. It's like my physical to-do list. Anyway, we have phones, and they worked on this campus, but I weren't sure if they were going to work at that campus. You don't need to know details about it, but like the phones work now. We're mounting TVs right now on a Friday afternoon as I record this. It's really, really exciting and overwhelming and exhausting and all the things, but to be able to build a thing and take a lot of the themes and lessons and skills you're going to learn in this course and be able to share that with our either second year returning high school faculty or brand new high school faculty. It's really exciting, and a lot of the tools I share with them are actually in this course. So it's really useful stuff, really applicable stuff. You're going to like it. What else about me? I have 3 kids that all go to Hillbrook along with me. They're going to grades 7, 6, and 4. So if you have those grades, yes, you know my days. And before I was being director of technology, I was down kind of in the Pasadena area-ish, teaching kindergarten, 2nd grade, and 4th and 5th grade music. So definitely elementary at heart. But in the last 10 years, I've worked a lot with middle school students. And then last year, we actually opened our high school, but didn't have the building yet, which is a story for another day. So yeah, the last couple of years, I've been working with high school students also, and it's good stuff. Brings me back to like my days in youth ministry working with high school kids. Yeah, so the K-12, like, I gotcha, and we'll try and give you examples of all the things as we go on. So let me give you a very quick overview of what each week is like, and then what each assignment is going to be. And then each week I will give you a video and an announcement digging much deeper into the theme of the week, as well as the assignments and kind of what's due. Most weeks, almost every week, you're going to have an assignment due, which is due Sunday by midnight, and you're going to have a discussion board where your initial post is due Thursday by midnight, and then 2 thoughtful replies by Sunday before midnight. It's always Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Feels so dramatic. Just make sure you're hitting those deadlines. Make sure you're reading the rubrics for all the assignments, but particularly the discussion board, that you're adding a citation for each discussion board. Yeah, let's talk about each week. So week number 1, it tends to have kind of a focus pedagogically and then a Google tool. So I'll just give you that really high level overview week to week. We'll fly kind of through it. So the tool's reflecting, and actually publicly reflecting, because the Google tool is Blogger, so having a blog. I remember my EdTech masters, we had to create a blog, and I was like, oh, so this is what you do as a teacher. And that was now, how long ago? 15 years ago, 18 years ago, that I've now had a blog. And so in this moment, you might be like, all right, whatever, like I'll knock out the blog post for the assignment because you have to. But I've continued with that, and I've actually integrated my own podcast. There was a book way back when there was blogs, podcasts, and wikis. Will Richardson book that was great and super innovative at the time. So like I started a blog, a podcast, and a wiki in that class. You didn't have to, but I did. And now here we are 15, 18 years later, and I have a podcast and a blog that are both at least 15 years old, which sounds significant and is, but just started in a course just like this. So do it, you have to do it, but also you might continue with it and you might love it. And I have found that by blogging or podcasting, it takes this idea about what I'm doing in my class or what I want to be doing in my class, or in this role, what I'm thinking about, like with working with teachers or working with students directly. Lots of ways that I can jump in and continue to work with students. What I want to be doing, or like, here's a new tool, how might I use that with teachers or students? And I find that if I've written it in a blog post, or if I've actually had a coherent enough podcast episode that I publish it, then it kind of solidifies my own thinking. And by having that public audience, even if like 5 people read the blog post, by knowing that I'm posting it publicly, not only does it pivot from me kind of consuming other people's ideas and content to me sharing ideas and content, which is important, and you'll learn about in 586, but also it's the idea that it becomes a coherent thought through the art of blogging or podcasting for me. Week number 2. I have 2 screens, by the way. So I have like my laptop here, my phone is my camera here, and then my other screen is there. So if you see me looking here, I'm not just like looking up, thinking. Sometimes I am, but I'm also just like reading my second screen. So we look at TPACK and Google Drawings. TPACK, so many acronyms. Teachers love acronyms. I love acronyms. You love acronyms, and it might be kind of annoying. It's about different types of knowledge: technology, pedagogy, and content knowledge. It actually should be TKPKCK, whatever, like technological knowledge, pedagogy knowledge, and content knowledge. And it's a Venn diagram of three different things. And so the again, we'll talk about this in week 2, like the type of pedagogy, the way you're teaching, the style of teaching, what the tech tool is, and then the actual content that you're teaching. And those intersect in ways. TPACK is like a great framework for thinking about, here's a new tool, a tech tool, cool. How do I use it in my classroom? TPACK helps you construct meaning in a pedagogically sound way. Week number 3 looks at summative assessments and Google Forms. We're going to put those two together and actually use a Google Form to be a self-grading quiz. And by the way, summative, if you ever get confused, like summary is the whole thing. Formative assessment is like forming ideas. It's that check-in, that kind of just in time with a new topic. So summative assessment with Google Forms is week 3. Week number 4, we look at curiosity, which I love. It's one of our school's core values, is be curious. And so this week deeply resonates with me. We also look at Google Slides and YouTube and how YouTube videos can be embedded in Google Slides. There's some really cool workflows with that. Week number 5, we look at direct instruction, and you're actually going to do a screencast using Google Chrome and then the Chrome extension Screencastify. So you're going to do your own direct instruction lesson, kind of like what I'm doing right now. So maybe it's just you, maybe it's just your screen, maybe it's you and your screen. If it's something where students really need to like look at a thing and learn a thing, screen recording with you in the corner tends to work the best, and Screencastify does that. I assume that you can have me on one side and scroll as I'm talking, so I tend to just record videos like this, so that you can see me instead of like my screen and I'm tiny, and then if you're on your phone, you're like, I can't even see the person that's talking, and on the screen, if it's in one part and you have the thing, then it's small, and anyway, I tend to do this. Week number 6, we look at formative assessment, right, where we're forming ideas. It's that thing kind of like mid-lesson or at the end of a lesson. And then the tool is with Google Slides and Pear Deck. Pear Deck gets you that just-in-time feedback, where it's basically a quiz or a Google form as part of Google Slides. It's really cool, and the free version gets you a lot. Week number 7 is lesson planning. We're going to look at Google Classroom and how to organize lessons and units in Google Classroom in like a really specific workflow that I think you're going to really like. And week number 8 is really just reflective practice, looking at all the tools, and it's going to be that Google Certified Educator Level 1. All the way while you're doing each one of these, there's going to be a unit that you're going to look at from the Google Education team, and it tends to be, see, I just closed all those tabs I just talked about. It tends to be like, look at, where did it go? I had it right in front of me and I just closed it. So embarrassing. Kind of like with the reading, like read this little bit, look at this unit, and week number 5. There it is. So it'll say something like, review units 9 and 10 for the Google Certified Educator exam. There's always a link to click here, which is the Google Fundamentals training. And so the units tend to match with the weeks, except there are 13 units. So you'll do kind of 2 units a week, mostly in order, going through those lessons. And so you're going to see in Canvas, it tends to be pretty light. You're like, oh, there's not much to do. And then you click on the Google Education training. And you're like, oh, okay, there's actually, like in Unit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things to do. Intro video, looking at the digital classroom is like 20 minutes. Google Tools is 20 minutes. Creating safe, responsible digital citizens, I did not say that well, 25 minutes. Right, so you have kind of like a couple hours per unit of stuff to watch and interact with. Videos are really well done. I think you're going to really like them, and also you have to look at them. I have found, and students have reported to me, that if you go through and actually watch all that stuff and you're keeping up in pace, it's pretty passive, it's pretty simple, but it's also framed in a way that is hopefully going to push you just a little bit more, like in that zone of proximal development, your ZPD, of like, oh, cool, like that, got it. Okay, so that's like the next step for integrating this Google tool. And if you go through that week after week and you're actually going through those videos, most students tend to pass that exam. And then you're a Google certified educator, level 1. Add that to your resume, add that to your CV, add that to your website if you've got one. It's good stuff. So very quickly, let's look at the assignments, and then each week I'm going to tell you about the assignments in more detail. So week number 1, you're going to create a blog using Blogger. Follow that Google Doc that explains the assignment. Really straightforward. Week number 2 is that TPACK diagram where you have technology, pedagogy, and content knowledge, and you're going to create a diagram using Google Drawings or another tool. Summative assessment, you're going to make, any guesses? Summative assessment. The Curiosity Spark is a specific workflow that Ramsey Musallam has developed, and the idea is you want to get your students excited about the thing before they do the homework for the thing. So you don't just say, all right, today's lesson is on cardinal directions. Let me explain cardinal directions. Here they are. Take notes with me. Let's do a check for understanding, then independent practice. The idea is actually like something really exciting. Let's take a trip to, we're going to Hollywood, everybody. All right, we're going to go west for 10 miles. Now go south. And I don't know, maybe like Magic School Bus where everyone's like, you're driving and the students are behind you. This is like a very second grade lesson. And they're like, how do we go west? And you're like, oh, I'm glad you asked, right? Like that curiosity spark, like high school chemistry, which is what Ramsey has taught a lot of. Like you do something where like something foams or explodes or changes colors, and they're like, what? How'd you do that? And then you lead them to like how to get to it. You don't say like, now we're going to look at combining an acid and a base. Not exciting, doesn't give you curiosity. It's a cool lesson. It's a great way of thinking about approaching lessons. And number 5, assignment 5, is an instructional screencast using Screencastify. Direct instruction, you're going to teach using videos. Week number 6 is around formative assessment. Week number 7 is just an old school lesson plan with getting some Google tools. More with that in week 7. And then week number 8 is just that Google Certified Educator exam. That's all the assignments. Went through them really quickly, but you'll get more detail each week. And then, so next step for you is to look at week 1, watch that video of me talking some more. I'll get into some more details about week 1, and just make sure you went through all those other assets that I covered at the beginning of the video. So welcome to 501. We're going to have a good time together.